Hey class, it's Victor. I hope everybody's doing well. So today we're going to talk about a boy's journey from trauma to triumph. This is the story of why I decided to join the medical field. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss the events that led up to this decision or having that seed planted. We're going to talk about the obstacles that prevented this dream from happening sooner than it should have. And then we're going to talk about the impacts this has had on not only myself, but the people around me. So this goes back to 1987. It's summer. I'm going from fifth grade to seventh grade. It's just the average Saturday in East LA. I'm outside with one of my good friends named Miguel. And we're just out there talking, doing what we normally do. And then there was just this loud bang. And I remember seeing a flash. And what almost seemed like time started to slow down. And then before I knew it, I remember seeing my friend Miguel on the floor. I holding his throat. And then that's when I started to see him bleeding and gasping for air. And then it was when I realized, after hearing the tires skid, that we were in the direct pathway of what seemed to be a drive-by, which is very common in my neighborhood. Neighbors, they were frantic, everybody trying to find out where he lived. At the time, I didn't speak Spanish, so I wasn't much help. I was frozen. I was watching my friend on the ground, just trying to do my best, to be there for him, and all I can do is put my hand on him. What seemed like a lifetime was probably no more than 10 minutes, and that's when the fire department showed up. The paramedics showed up. These guys came in, crowd control. They went in and assessed the situation. They stabilized him. Everybody looked calm. They got him up and they got him over to the hospital. And it was at that moment that I knew what I wanted to do. So you fast forward now, it's 2018. Obviously I'm out of school already and I'm a father myself now. And my dad's diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, colon cancer. And so he's in the hospital now. He's got pneumonia, and what seemed to be a routine visit turned out to be his last days. During that time I was there visiting, I just couldn't help feel that he wasn't getting the care he wanted. He was on a ventilator. I didn't understand vent rates. Is he getting the right medication? Why hasn't someone came and seen him? And it was a very familiar feeling. It brought back those old 1987 feelings. And on his last, days there, I made him a promise that I was going to go back to school and I was going to go ahead and continue on that promise I made myself. So now that we discussed the events that led to the reasons why I wanted to join the medical field, let's talk about those obstacles that I needed to hurdle. So growing up, I struggled in school. I had ADD. My parents didn't graduate from high school, so there wasn't much support there. There was no guidance. College, I was terrified of college. I mean, if I could barely get through school now, what was this going to be like? So I had no aspirations of ever going to college. And I was also a single parent. There goes my time, there goes my finances, and definitely there goes my energy. God bless anybody who's a single parent and still continuing with their education. My hats go off to you, because that is not easy. So now we've discussed those events leading up to it, the obstacles that prevented me from pursuing that career. Now we're going to talk about the impact this has had not only on myself, but the people around me. So after my father's passing, I resigned from my 23-year career as a director of operations with my company, and I went back to school. And I learned how to deal with that ADD and those insecurities of being in school again. And I ended up, getting my EMT license. I doubled down on that when I got my phlebotomy license. A year later, I took a course in North Las Vegas, got my advanced EMT license, and then this past year, when I got my paramedic license. But I wasn't done. And now I'm here at Mount SAC pursuing that nursing license. So not only did this give me the confidence to know that I wasn't dumb, I could do whatever it is I set out to do. But it also made me a better communicator. I had what's called informed trauma care, which is empathy. I had a better understanding of what people go through and a lot of traumas that they've been through, and learn to be empathetic to that. But most importantly, it's the impact it had on my daughter. I've mentioned this before. She plays softball at Mount SAC. COVID cut that short. And she ended up going to school in Arizona, which was one of the very few medical schools that was open. And she's a nurse herself. She's also a mother of two and still pursuing that career in the medical field of higher education. So in closing, life's always going to throw trauma at us. We're always going to have trials and we're always going to have obstacles. But it's how we see those obstacles and what we do with them and what we learn from them that's going to shape us when it's our time or when we're looking for that calling.